my new bookshelf. Let's see what we got here. Giacomo Leopardi, Ezra Pound, Dostoevsky, Montaigne, Whitman, Rilke. Oh yeah, Keats and Shelley. That's my shit. It's Beckett. Gertrude Stein, more Rilke, Yeats, Williams. Oh, I love this book. This I've always wanted to read. It's a study of Wallace Stevens by Bloom. Emily Dickinson's beautifully written Crisis. I'm sorry, beautifully written letters, which are as persuasive as her Crisis lyrics. It's my favorite book by John Ashbery, called The Stars Were Shining. It's Browning. I haven't read as much Browning as I should, but I like what I read, especially what is it? Parts of the Ring in the Buck, and a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, this is just a selection of stuff. This is my baby right here. I read this when I don't really feel like I have any hope. And I have both volumes of Schopenhauer's World as Well and Representation, Will to Power, Hume, Treatise of Human Nature, a little-known novel by Kingdom Come Fall, Heidegger, and this that I've read into oblivion. It's so short, you know, and Kierkegaard's great. You can just read it. These are Camus' notebooks. This is Writings of Nietzsche. This is On the Nature of Things by Lucretius, which is also a beautiful work. There's more, but this is all that my room can fit for now. Still haven't, oh, this book right here. Beckett's Short Prose. I read this when I was really down. Just broken up with my ex. It is, I actually stole the title of one of the first stories he ever wrote, called The Assumptions, or The Assumption. Assumption. And, wait. Can you see that? No. Well, it's a beautiful little prose piece about alienation. It's absolutely genius. He was listening in the dusk when she came, listening so intently that he did not hear her enter. From the door, she spoke to him, and he winced at the regularity of her clear, steady speech. It was the usual story, vulgarly told. Admiration for his genius, sympathy with his suffering. Only a woman could understand. He clenched his hands in a fury against the enormous impertinence of women, their noisy, intrusive, curious enthusiasm, like the spontaneous expression of admiration bursting from American hearts before Michelangelo's tomb in Santa Croce. The voice droned on, wavered, stopped. He sketched a tired gesture of acceptation and prepared to withdraw once more within that terrifying, silent immobility. She turned on the light and advanced carelessly into the room. An eruption of demons would not have scattered his intentness so utterly. She sat down before him at the table and leaned forward with her jaws in the cups of her hands. He looked at her venomously and was struck, in spite of himself, by the extraordinary pallor of her lips, of which the lower protruded slightly and curled upwards contemptuously to compress the upper, resulting in a faintly undershot local sensuality which went strangely with the extreme cold purity, stretching sadly from the low, broad brow to the closed nostrils. He thought of George Meredith and recovered something of his calm. The eyes were so deeply set as to be almost cavernous. The light falling on the cheekbones threw them back into a misty shadow. In daylight they were strange, almost repulsive, deriving a pitiless penetration from the rim of white showing naturally above the green-flecked pupil. Now, as she leaned forward beneath the light, they were pools of obscurity. She wore a close-fitting hat of faded green felt. He thought he had never seen such charming shabbiness. When at last she went away, he felt that something had gone out from him, something he could not spare, but still less could grudge, something of the desire to live, something of the unreasonable tenacity with which he shrank from dissolution. So each evening, in contemplation and absorption of this woman, he lost a part of his essential animality, so that the water rose, terrifying him. Still he fought on all day, hopelessly, mechanically, only relaxing with twilight, to listen for her coming to loosen yet another stone in the clumsy dam set up and sustained by him, frightened and corruptible, until at last, for the first time, he was unconditioned by the satanic dimensional trinity. He was released, achieved, the blue flower, Vega, God. After a timeless parenthesis, he found himself alone in his room, spent with ecstasy, torn by the bitter loathing of that which he had condemned to the humanity of silence. Thus each night he died and was God, each night revived and was torn and battered with increasing grievousness, so that he hungered to be irretrievably engulfed in the light of eternity, one with the birdless, cloudless, colorless skies, in infinite fulfillment. Then it happened. While the woman was contemplating the face that she had overlaid with death, she was swept aside by a great storm of sound, shaking the very house with its prolonged triumphant vehemence, climbing in a dizzy, bubbling scale, until dispersed it fused into the breath of the forest and the throbbing cry of the sea. They found her caressing his wild